And if you're going to win souls, you've got to love souls. In spite of their meanness, in spite of the way they look, in spite of everything, you've got to seek to bring souls to Jesus Christ because you love them, because Jesus loved them, and because Jesus died for them, and you're trying to bring them to the Son of God.
The Bible says in Psalm 84:11, my last verse, for the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. I've based my whole life on that it pays to serve God, and I believe that with all my heart.
God has given us a guidebook. God has given us a directional map. And that guidebook, that map, is the precious Word of God.
Listen, don't just go and sit in the pew. Find some way to serve, and serve as a family. Be a part of everything at church. And when you learn to love what God loves, your children will learn to love it as well.
Homes are not that spiritually strong. We're getting overtaken by the world quickly, but unfortunately, we're pumping all the sewage in. We're letting the world in when that ought to be a haven.
If we could see the result of all that God does in every service where the Word of God is lifted and preached, we'd be dumbfounded and amazed at what God does.
It's just not about an attendance number on a board. How many people can you get coming faithfully to your church? The purpose of church is not for attendance. The purpose of church is for growth.
But if we look in the mirror, we're not perfect either. And the truth is, again, you can't change the other person. You can't get them saved. You can't change their faults, but God can. But you can change your own faults through God's help.
The Pharisees couldn't stand him, but they found out they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. The witnesses couldn't get their testimonies to agree. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't handle him. And the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king.
If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, come to the end of what's best for you, and start doing what's best for the sake of the Savior.
Welcome back to the Sandy Creek Stirrings podcast. I am your host, Joshua Jimenez. Thank you for listening today. We've got a very interesting episode today, and I want to dive right in. I'm not going to talk about the website and all that. I'll mention my email later on. If you have any questions, I'll mention that later on in the episode. So I'm going to just forego all of the introduction today because today is probably going to be a little bit longer than I want it to be, and it's going to be more of a niche episode. This episode is going to be a little bit more specific. Now, in general, we try to make our episodes to where they cross a broad spectrum of types of people and things that almost, most people would be interested in hearing in or learning about or things of that sort. Today is not going to be that. It's going to be a little bit more of a niche episode. I hesitated to put an episode like this on the podcast because I knew it would be so specific. But I've had so many questions on this particular topic over the past probably year. I've had these questions a lot. And it's on the subject of the wardrobe, the attire of the ministry man. I've had a lot of questions from men and young men who have asked me, they say, hey, I want to start dressing sharp. I want to start dressing up for church. I want to start doing my best in that area of dress. Or, hey, I'm going into ministry and I'm starting to build out my closet. What should I have in my closet? I've been getting these questions a lot. Dry cleaning. Where do you buy suits? Where do you buy shoes? How do you score deals? How do you shop on a budget? I've been getting these questions a ton. And so we're going to do an episode on that today. I thought about entitling the episode the How to Dress Sharply or the Wardrobe Essentials of the Sharply Dressed Man, but I ended up landing on the Wardrobe Essentials of the Ministry Man. Now, maybe you're not going into the ministry, maybe you're not, looking at ministry and you think, well, this isn't going to apply to me. But this won't be geared just to ministry men. It'll be geared to any man who would like to start dressing his best for church or other activities, which is something I think is important. I knew today going into this episode that there could be some who would give some flack about an episode like this today. They will say that, well, everybody who cares about this subject is just being materialistic. Or people who care about the way they dressed are just prideful and arrogant. Or, you care more about the eyes of other than the eyes of God. But I truly believe the opposite. Because I believe that dressing your best and dressing sharply should not, and I agree, it should not be focused on the attention or catching the eyes or the compliments of others. So I would agree with you in that area, but I believe opposite of you in the fact that it's not about those things. There's something greater at hand here. The Bible tells us in the book of Ecclesiastes, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. And the reason I try to dress my best when I go to church or have other activities, or I try to dress my best, I look at what the activity is and I understand what we're doing. And then I dress appropriately and I try to go a step above. You say, why? Because I want to do my best for the Lord. Now I understand that could be used as an excuse for some guys who really are trying to grab eyes. But that's not what I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I want to be pleasing to the Lord. And also, I'm the assistant to the pastor at my church. I'm supposed to, in some facets, I'm leading people. I'm leading young men, and I'm trying to set a good example. And here's what I want. I want my attire to also be a good testimony for the Lord. Those are the two things that reign preeminently in my mind when I'm talking about wardrobe essentials and attire and wearing suits and wearing ties and things of that sort. Those are the things that my mind runs to. And it's not about being materialistic or being arrogant or being prideful, but it's about doing our best for the Lord. And I believe that's biblical. I'll add this on. I don't want my clothes to say that I'm a slob. There are so many things in life that require you to dress up or dress a certain way. Many concerts at your child, if they go to a school, if there's a special music concert or a play or something of some sort, sometimes they will put out a special dress code for what you can and can't wear to that type of event. There are some restaurants, even today, that if you want to be able to eat in their dining room, you have to dress up. There's dress requirements. If you were to have a meeting with the president, or if you were to go into a special event or some meeting happening for a government type thing, there's certain types of clothing you would have to wear. If you go before the court, if you go into court or before the Supreme Court, there's certain clothing types you have to wear. And here's what's amazing. If you had to go to court today, you would toss on a suit and a tie, you would rush down to the store, and if you didn't have one, you would buy one, and you'd wear it to court. And here's what's amazing. You go to court in front of a group of peers, the jury, and whoever else is there in the court that day, and you're in court, and you're wearing that suit, and here's what you're saying. You're saying that I respect the judge, I respect your honor enough to dress this way for court. But when I go to church to worship the judge of all, I go to church to worship God, to love him, to serve him. And I have the opportunity to serve him with every day of my life, as do you. But then on top of that, my calling in life, some people would say career. I don't like that as much. I like calling. But my calling in life is I get to serve him full-time at my church. Well, I say, well, I'm going to dress up for this judge over here, but I won't dress up for the God who died for me. I just don't think that's doing our best for the Lord. And that's why I think this matters. So, again, I'll give my email, and you can ask me some questions at my email. I'll list that email a little bit later on in the episode. But let me give you some opening thoughts on today's episode before we dive right in. So let me say this. You don't have to go and buy all of these items or all of these things tomorrow. You probably don't have money to, for one. Or maybe you do, and then what a blessing. But you don't have to go buy all these tomorrow. Just because I say they're wardrobe essentials, we can work around some of these things. Number two, you can score great deals on the things I'm going to talk about today, and you can shop on a budget if you know where to shop and what to look for. And so, yes, you can get these things in the more affordable range, and there are times where you can get these things very affordably, and it'll save you money. Now, let me say this, number three, on our opening thoughts. Buying quality saves you money in the long run, and it'll just be nicer looking as well, and it'll be a better overall product, and depending on what type of product it is, it'll get better with time, depending on what it is. So buying quality saves you money. So whenever you can, buy quality. Buy quality whenever you can. Now, this one's going to hurt me a little bit to say, but I will say this. Fit. The way clothing, the way an attire, the way something fits, is probably going to be more important than quality. Even though I would say always do your best to buy quality, and I didn't say expensive, but I meant look for the quality in the materials and the way things are built and the way things are made. Look for quality. Have a good understanding of what quality looks like for that particular item, and then buy quality, but fit is more important than quality. Meaning I would rather you buy a suit that fits you very well than a suit that is of the best quality, but it fits you very poorly. It's baggy, the sleeves are slightly too long. Why? Because it'll just look terrible. So fit is going to be more important than quality in the long run, but buy quality when you can. As you're building your wardrobe, as you're building these things and you're building this out, I want to tell you, versatility is your friend. Versatility is your friend. Don't go with the far out colors. Don't go with things with crazy patterns that are going to be hard to match other things with. If you're building a small wardrobe, you're just getting into this, or you need a wardrobe that you can adapt and change to whatever activity you're going to be involved in, then having a versatile wardrobe is your friend. You don't have to have a closet full of clothes. You don't have to have a walk-in closet that's lined from wall to wall with all these clothes. You can have a very small closet, just a handful of items. But if you've built versatility into your attire, then you'll always have something new, something fresh. You'll always have something you can wear that's slightly different. So versatility is going to be your friend. And that creates this thing of you need to know how to learn how to match things together. What colors go together, what patterns go together. I told you we're going to get very specific today. What materials go together, what goes together, what does not. Guys, learn to match your clothing. You don't need to rely on your wife to pick out your clothes for you every day. You need to get out there and you need to start learning how to match things together. The guys that say, well, I don't know how to match, you just haven't taken time to learn it. All right, learn how to match things together. Now, let's get into, and the way I did this list is I did the 10 things. I did 10 things, and the reason why is if I didn't do 10 things, I was going to get a really, really long episode on a subject that is a little bit more of a niche episode. Now, I personally wouldn't mind doing a couple episodes, a series on this. I know my audience and my listeners, they're not going to want a series on this, so we're going to pack it all into one episode. So I created a list of 10 things. I tried to give them from most important to least important when I wrote them down, but they're not necessarily the case. These are just 10 things, really in any order, that I think are important. If you want to begin dressing sharply, if you're a ministry guy, you're just getting into ministry, then these are some things you should probably have in your closet that will be helpful to you. Now, I'm going to get very specific with the things today, and I will give some honorable mentions that barely missed the list at the end of today's episode. So here we go. Let's dive right in. So number one on our listing of the 10 wardrobe essentials of the ministry man, you're building out your closet, you're building out these things, and you say, what should I get maybe first? What's one of the essentials that I should have? And I would say number one, I would really focus on getting a good white dress shirt. Now, a long sleeve white dress shirt. And we could talk about a short sleeve dress shirt. I'm just not personally a fan. They might have their place. I'm wary of wearing them without a suit coat. That's just not personally the look I'm going for. I think we can sometimes give off a little bit of a Mormon look to a degree when we're doing the short sleeve white dress shirt, And so I personally would go with, if you want something that's the most versatile, you can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can do all that. Then here's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the white long sleeve dress shirt. Now, it is very versatile, and I said you can dress it up. You can dress it down a little, but that's going to be a little bit more difficult. In general, most of the time, you're going to wear a white dress shirt. You're typically going to have a tie on. Typically, there's some times where you can have it without a tie, but most of the time, if you have a white dress shirt on, you're going to be wearing a tie. But the great thing about a white dress shirt is you can wear it to your most formal of events, no matter what you're doing. If you need to dress your very, 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 very best, a white dress shirt is the way to go. And then it matches any color, matches any pattern. It's very versatile in what you can pair it with. Now, maybe you are looking for more. You say, well, I already have a white dress shirt. What should I get next? I want to get a second dress shirt. I would go with, and these are very versatile, and they help you to begin to build out that closet a little bit more if you want to, but you should go with probably a very light blue dress shirt, or go with a white dress shirt that maybe has like blue pinstripe or something like that. They're very versatile. You can match them with a lot of things, and blue is going to be a great color to really match with a whole lot of different things. Very versatile. Now, I do know, and I said we're going to get specific today, I do know the question is going to be, should I get French cuff or should I get barrel cuff? If you don't know the difference, French cuff is going to be where you're wearing cufflinks. If you want to keep that cuff closed and tight, you're going to have cufflinks. Barrel cuff is just your standard shirt. You go to Walmart, you buy a dress shirt, it's going to be barrel cuff. I will say this, if you only have one shirt in your closet, I would probably go barrel cuff. The reason why is if you have probably not a white dress shirt, but if you have another color and you're building out and you're getting some other dress shirts, those other colors you can wear without a tie and you can wear without a suit coat. And they're going to be very versatile. Often, if you're wearing cufflinks, a lot of the times you're going to need a tie. Now, again, that's not always the case, but a lot of times just when you have a French cuff shirt, it's naturally more dressy. I personally am a fan of French cuff shirts. I like cufflinks. I like those things. Unfortunately, cufflinks did not make today's list of 10 things, and so maybe French cuff should not be on here. But I personally would go, if you've just got one or two dress shirts, I would lean towards barrel cuff. It's going to be even more versatile, in my opinion, than the French cuff, even though I do like the French cuff more. So there's a conversation to be had with that. Get something, though, in your dress shirt. Make sure that it's something that fits and is not baggy. A lot of times for younger guys, depending on your height, weight, etc., getting a slim fit might be something that's good to do. It'll pull in those sides and make sure that the shirt is not baggy. Get away from the really pointy, the really long, old-style collars. They don't really make them as much today, so most of the time, if you're shopping for a brand new shirt, you're going to have a harder time finding that old style. But in general, I'd say stay away from that, even if you do find it. I'd also say avoid Oxford dress shirts. Now, you may not know what that is, but when you say Oxford dress shirt, you're referring to a dress shirt that has long sleeves, that is white or whatever color, but it's a dress shirt that has, you've seen the little collars, and they've got the little buttons at the very points, the very tips of that collar, and it buttons down to the shirt. That is called an Oxford dress shirt. Guys, those are not very versatile. They can be for the casual attire, but if you want to dress that up, you have a really hard time truly dressing up, going up in formality with an Oxford-style dress shirt that has the little buttons on the collar. You don't want to do that. Get something that doesn't have the buttons on the collar. It's more versatile in general. It's going to be better for you. And then, guys, I would say this on the white dress shirt, go with quality. Make sure it fits, because if you get something that fits well and it's quality, it will feel better when you're wearing it. It'll breathe better. It'll be better quality. It will last longer. It will save you money. So buy quality when you can. I'm going to talk about thrift store shopping today. But I would say in general, I would probably avoid the thrift store for the white dress shirt. Now, the other colors, light blue, things like that, sure, you might take a look. And I would even look through the rack. You never know what you'll find. There was one time where I found a great white shirt. It didn't fit too great, so that was the only issue. But it was a great white dress shirt, and I wore it for a little while. But you're going to have a really hard time finding a white dress shirt at the thrift store that doesn't have any stains. And that's something important. And when you guys are shopping at the thrift store, you've got to look over the things you're buying for stains and tears and rips. And not to be nasty, but guys, you got to check the armpits. You don't want any stains that you have to deal with from the previous owner. So in general, if you find one at the thrift store, then snatch it up quick, because they're few and far between. But in general, when you're looking for that white dress shirt, it's probably better to go on the slightly newer side. And you don't have to get something expensive. But a white dress shirt, if you treat it right, if you wash it and you do all those things, guys, wash your clothes. But if you're taking care of your clothing, then that dress shirt is going to last you for a while. And I will say this, be a smart shopper. When you're going to the store and you're looking for these things, or you're in a thrift store, you're going shopping, or there's a sale, be a smart shopper. Know your sizes. Know your sleeve length and your collar size, so you know what you're looking for. When you look at the tag of a shirt, you know whether or not it'll fit you. Know your waist size, know your pant length. So that way, when you go to the store and you see pants, you know what size fits you. Know your sizes so you can buy clothes that fit well. So the dress shirt, the white dress shirt, I would probably say that's one of the first things I would put in that closet for the ministry man. Moving down the list to number 2, I think if I was looking next for something else to put into the closet as I'm building that out, I'm going to look at some leather dress shoes. Now, I specifically said leather. I didn't say fake leather or faux leather, though you could go that direction. I'm going to give you some ways you don't have to today. Now, I think leather dress shoes are an essential for the ministry man. Whether you're out on visitation or you're going to a nice dinner with your wife or you're attending a meeting or you're just going to church, they are literally the foundation of your wardrobe. And so I would get a nice pair of leather dress shoes. Now you say, well, I can only get one pair. I'm only going to have one pair in the closet. What's going to be the most versatile? And that's tough. That's tough. The classic answer has always been, if you're going to only have one pair of dress shoes, then get a pair of black Oxford dress shoes. You say, what are Oxford? Well, there are Oxford shoes, there are derby shoes. And I'm not going to get into the difference today because you don't want to hear about it. And if you do, you can email me, joshua@sandycreekstirrings.com, or look it up. But Oxfords are typically going to be a little bit more formal of a dress shoe. It has to do with the flaps on the top of the shoes where the laces tie in, whether they are inside or outside of the shoe. And yes, you're wondering, how in the world do I know this? Research, people. Research. So, but typically the answer has always been a black Oxford, maybe a cap toe Oxford where it has a little cap on the toe. Again, getting very, very specific today. That's been the classic answer. I don't know that that's the right answer for today's world. I just don't know that it is, because black dress shoes are typically going to be more formal. I would probably, if it was me, depending on what suits I have in the closet. Guys, if you have a black suit, yes, go with the black dress shoes. We're going to talk about suits here in a little bit. But yes, if you have a black suit, go with black dress shoes. Guys, do not wear brown shoes with a black suit, period. All right, keep moving forward. But I would probably look, if it were me, I'd probably look at a oxblood, which is more of a maroon. I'd probably look at that, or a brown pair of dress shoes. In today's world, it's just going to be more versatile because you can dress brown down a lot more than you can dress black down. Black is always going to be more formal. It's always going to be more dressy. So I would probably look for a brown shoe. Probably nothing with frills or thrills. Probably just you can look this up. Just type into Google, look up brown cap toe Oxford. That's probably what I would look at. You could go with some wingtips. You could go with some brogues, just different types of shoes, people. And I am a shoe guy. I could bore you to death with the differences in Oxfords and Derbies or the history of brogue shoes. You don't want to know those. If you want to know more, email me. But you look for something brown. I would say that's probably the most affordable if you can only have, or most versatile rather, if you can only have one in the closet. I would go with a pair of brown leather dress shoes. Buy what you can afford. Buy what you can afford. I will say this, though. Go quality. Go quality. Here's where I buy most of my dress shoes, and I've had a fair amount of questions about this. I buy most of my dress shoes now. I buy them on eBay. You say, well, you buy used dress shoes. Yes and no. I buy very specifically. I buy very specific brands of dress shoes on eBay. Now, here's what I do, and let me give you an explanation of my process. You may be unaware, but guys, you can go online today, and if you wanted to buy a great pair of leather dress shoes, you could go to several different shoe manufacturers that make great leather dress shoes that are quality, that'll last you literally a lifetime. You say, a lifetime? What about when I wear the soles out? Well, we'll talk about that. But you could buy shoes that'll last you a really, really long time. But they'll cost you $300 to $400. $300 to $400. Well, I don't personally have that kind of money. Do you? No. But you can go on eBay and you can buy shoes that you can buy new for $300 to $50. You can buy them used for $35 on the very low end to $75, $80, $90. And I know for some that's still expensive, but have you looked at shoe prices lately? $70 isn't that bad for a pair of shoes. So what I do is I go online and I'll buy, and I'll talk about brands here in a second if I'm going to do this, what I'm looking for. But I can buy a pair of dress shoes for $60, $70 is a pair I bought most recently, I think cost me $50. And I buy a pair of used, great quality dress shoes, and the soles will still have a little bit of wear left in them. Now, you got to know what you're looking for. If this is your first gig, you've never done this before, email me. Again, my email is joshua@sandycreekstirrings.com, and I'll talk to you about, hey, here's what you need to look for if you're looking through listings for used dress shoes. But you want to look at the soles of the shoe, the very bottom of the shoe. You need to know, what you're looking for. Does it have holes in it? If it does have holes in it, if it's got certain things, you don't want that. But if it still has some wear left on the soles, then you can buy those. And here's what your good quality dress shoes have. They are Goodyear welted, which means they're more resistant to water, but also the soles are sewn on directly to that leather dress shoe. And here's what that means. You can replace the soles of the dress shoe when they wear out. Now, you can't do that with all dress shoes. You go on Amazon, buy a pair of faux leather dress shoes, you're not going to be able to replace the soles. That's why you have to throw away that pair of dress shoes you bought on Amazon that have wore out, 6 months, a year sometimes. Most of the times, if it's your only pair in the closet, it's not lasting you a year. So you're having to throw away that whole shoe after 6 months. Whereas if you buy a quality dress shoe, you can replace the sole, and that sole will last you, depending on how many pairs you have, how often you vary it, it'll last you anywhere from a year, year and a half to 2 years. Now, here's how it works for me. When I buy a pair of dress shoes, I'll wear them, and typically I can get another 6 months to another year of wear out of the dress shoe when I buy it. So there's $50, right? Buy a good pair of dress shoes for $50, which is a great buy. Not too bad for today's world. Even if you buy a pair of brand new cheap dress shoes, you're going to be looking at the $45, $50 range anyway. So I buy a pair of dress shoes, good dress shoes for $50. I'll wear them for 6 months to a year, and the soles will need to be replaced. What I do is I take them to my local cobbler. You say, they still have cobblers? Yes, they still have cobblers. They still have people who do this, depending on what area you are in. By the way, there are mail-in services as well, a little bit more expensive. But I have a local cobbler. And so I can take in my shoes to a local cobbler. He charges me $70, and he replaces the soles. You say, well, $70? You already spent $50. That's $120. Yes, but that sole, the way I wear it, is going to last me about 2 years. So I spent $120, yes, over 3 years. That's $40 a year. And here's what happens. As time goes on, I begin to save even more money because those soles, as I add to those dress shoes, those soles are going to last me even longer, to where now I have pairs of shoes where the soles are lasting me 3 years because I just have more shoes. So it's saving me even more money in the long run. Now, here's the reason that's good. Because your budget Amazon shoes, they cost you $45, right? You say, well, I can just buy a brand new pair of Amazon dress shoes and I can buy them today. But here's the truth. Because of the materials and the quality of the materials in your Amazon budget dress shoes, they wear out after 6 months. So if I have to buy a $45 pair of dress shoes every 6 months, that's $90 a year. And also, they just start to look a little trashy because you wear them, they get scuffed up. Those particular types of shoes, due to their fake leather and stuff like that, you can't really buff them out. You can't really get the scratches out. You can't really polish them as well as you can a real leather dress shoe. And they just start to look worse. Whereas your real quality leather dress shoes are going to last longer, they're going to look nicer longer, they adapt to your foot, they fit better, they're built better, they're more sturdy for your feet, they're better for your feet in general, they're more comfortable. So buying a quality dress shoe is just a better buy overall, and it's actually going to save you money in the long run. Now, that's great, but what kind of shoes, what brands of shoes should you be looking for? My personal favorite, my personal go-to is the Allen Edmonds. They're typically a $300 to $400 shoe if you buy them brand new. I don't. I would not buy them brand new. So I'm an eBay guy. Amen. And you can find lots of Allen Edmonds, lots of different styles, something that fits the bill for what you're looking for. But Allen Edmonds are something great to look for. I would say other brands to keep an eye out for are Johnston and Murphy. A little bit more on the budget side of premium leather shoes. But I will say this, their older pairs are very great quality. So sometimes you can find a good pair of Johnston Murphys that still have a lot of life left in them. I bought a pair of loafers for $25 several months ago, almost a year ago now, and those things, I still got a lot of life left in those, and I bought them for $25, and they are great quality. They're an older style, so that was a blessing. That was a good blessing of a find. Look for Beckett and Simonon, Meerman. You could look at Cole Haan and Florisheim, but their quality has gone way down in recent years, so I'd probably stay away from them. But I'd look more at Allen Edmonds, and if you just Google shoes like Allen Edmonds, you're going to find a lot of brands that are kind of similar. I would say, though, the best bang for your buck, what I've found personally, is if you can find a Goodyear welted, you want to look for that specifically, a Goodyear welted Johnston and Murphy pair of shoes, they may be the best bang for your buck in this area of premium leather dress shoes. I have come across some leather dress shoes at Goodwill and at other thrift stores, never really in my size. I did find a pair of Johnston & Murphy Oxford, cap-toe Oxford in oxblood that I was talking about just a little bit ago. I found those for $9. Man, you can't beat that, people. There you go. I'm going to wear them. They still had, their soles had barely been touched. Like whoever wore them barely ever wore them. And again, they're a little bit more on the budget side, but I can still replace their soles, and that was a great buy for $9. So keep your eyes open. I will say this. Don't you dare. Please, man, don't you dare plan on wearing your leather dress shoes if you're not planning on shining them. If you say, well, I don't want to have to shine my shoes, don't even waste your time. Go on Amazon, get your cheap pre-shine stuff and that you're going to toss in the trash 6 months later and replace. Go ahead and do that. But man, if you're going to get dress shoes, shine your shoes. There's a reason the military requires you to shine your shoes when you're in the military. Why? Because it's the best thing you can do. So I would say if you get some good leather dress shoes, you need to invest in a couple things. Different episode, different time. And again, I'm a shoe guy, so I've already talked about this longer than I wanted to. But invest in some leather conditioner, invest in some good quality polish. I would give recommendations on that, but we're going to move forward. Next, number 3, the white undershirt. Oh, yes, the white undershirt. Men, simply put, do not wear a white dress shirt without an undershirt. I would say in general, if you have a light-colored, non-patterned, long-sleeve dress shirt, then please wear a white dress shirt, or not a dress shirt. Wear a white undershirt, not a wife beater, not a tank top. Wear a normal white undershirt. You say, why? Because you keep wearing a white dress shirt without an undershirt. For one, depending on the material, it is see-through. It is see-through. Guys, nobody wants to see what's under your shirt. That's why you have a shirt on. So if you have a white dress shirt and the material is cheaper, you're going to be able to see right through that dress shirt, and nobody wants to see that. So please, we beg you, wear an undershirt. But the second thing is, your shirt will get yellow armpit stains over time. I know this is kind of gross and disgusting, but it will if you don't wear a dress or wear an undershirt. So wearing an undershirt actually prolongs the life of your dress shirt. And so it's just a rule. So please obey it. Please wear an undershirt when you have a light, non-patterned dress shirt. Please wear an undershirt. You need it. Next is a belt. A belt. Look, this is an essential. You believe it, I believe it. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. An argument could be made for suspenders. I think a belt is just going to win overall. If you only have a few items in your closet, the belt is just going to be more versatile. So grab a belt. Match it to the color of your dress shoes. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you're done. I cannot more highly recommend, though, a ratchet belt. It's a belt that doesn't have little holes in it, like your old standard style belts, but this is one that has a like a channel locking system on the back of the belt, and when you push it into the buckle, it goes and it's micro adjustments for your belt. You can get the exact perfect fit. I can't recommend that more highly. So look up ratchet belt. It'll blow your mind. You'll be amazed. Next is socks. Whatever number we're on, next is socks. Now, I'm not going to go into depth on socks. You need socks. I will say this. There are a couple rules that I would follow. As a ministry man, you want to dress sharp. I'd say there's a few rules you need to follow when it comes to the area of socks. Number one, do not, please, gentlemen, do not wear white tube socks with your dress shoes. Or really, if you're trying to dress formal at all, please don't wear white tube socks. If you're going to wear jeans and a t-shirt, sure, wear the white tube socks all day. But otherwise, please don't wear them. It's just not going to look the best. It's going to detract from the attire in general. If you see a guy wearing ankle socks with his dress shoes, no, don't do that. Do not do that, guys. Do not wear ankle socks with your dress shoes. And then number 3, please, I understand the no-show shoes are a fad right now. Or the no-show shoes. I mean no-show socks. I understand that the fad right now, don't wear socks with your dress shoes or make it look like you don't have socks on. Most of those guys are carrying purses, so let's just not do that, all right? Let's not do that. If you want to dress really, really sharp and you got a suit on, put some socks on. Great, okay? Because those guys wearing no-show socks are typically carrying a purse and have a Pinterest account. That's not what we're going for. All right, next, the suit. The suit. Guys, if you currently do not own a suit, I'm going to give you some recommendations. So maybe you're looking to buy your first suit. You want to start wearing a suit to church, or maybe you're going to be involved in a ministry. You need a suit for that, and you want to go suit shopping. This is the question I get more than any other. I will say this. Your first suit should not be plaid or houndstooth or window pane or some crazy pattern, or a very unique material like suede or corduroy or satin. Here's what your first suit, if you're buying one suit and you need it to be very versatile when you buy one suit, here's what it should be. It should be navy blue, or it should be a charcoal gray, not black. This is the abomination. It's not an abomination, but this is the thing that so many guys do. They think, well, I want the most versatile suit I can get. I only have one, so I'm going to get black. No. Black is too formal to wear in most day-to-day settings. Black is your funeral. It's your wedding suit. That's about it. If you're going to black tie, it would fit a black tie. It would not fit white tie. You say, what's the difference? We'll talk about it at a different time. It's not referring to the color of your tie. It's referring to an event. But nonetheless, black is way too formal for most of the time, and it's also just not versatile. It's just not versatile. You cannot dress it down as much. You can't mix that suit and match it with other pants or other things, and you should only do that at specific times anyway. But do some research. Black is not going to be the most versatile. So go with a navy blue or a charcoal gray suit. Those are going to be the versatile ones. Those are going to be the ones you can wear with black, or you can wear them with brown shoes, either or. Really, oxblood color shoes, really any color of shoes are going to fit with those two types of suits. And I will say this, if you're going to buy a suit, buy a suit, not a sport coat and some pants that could go with the sport coat. It's a good idea, but buy a suit, because your sport coat and mixed pants will never be as formal. If you really need them for like a funeral or a wedding or something, they're not going to be as formal as just having a suit. And buy a suit that fits. Please, gentlemen, get someone who will go to the store with you if you don't know what you're looking for, and get someone who will be honest with you and tell you whether or not a suit fits. Get a suit that fits. And when you buy the new suit and when you bring it home, please cut the vent in the back and the pockets, and cut those open with a seam tool, not your pocket knife. You'll get a hole in your suit, but please cut the vent in the back of the suit open. It's not supposed to be like that, just to keep the suit so it's looking nice and lays straight when you first get it on off the rack. But otherwise, you're supposed to cut that open. Now, here's the best places to buy a suit on a budget. You ready? eBay. Now, I know that's probably going to blow your mind. You're like, what? eBay? I can't even try it on first. You're right. But if you know your measurements, meaning you know what your measurement from your shoulder to shoulder across the back is, you know your arm length, you know your back length, you know your chest measurement, the circumference of your chest area, you know your waist size, you know your pant length. If you know all the measurements, a lot of times when you have somebody selling suits on eBay at a very, very discounted price, we're talking like $50, $70, which is a great price for sometimes a brand new suit or a lightly used suit. A lot of times people selling on eBay know guys need exact measurements. And so if you look in the listing, they will give you all of the exact measurements of that suit coat. And if you know what your measurements are, Or if you measure a suit you already currently have that fits very well and you measure that suit and know what the measurements are, then you can buy a great suit at an incredible price. My most recent suit that I bought, full suit, I hadn't bought for myself a full suit in many, many years now. I had someone who had given me as a gift. They had taken me to the store. They had bought me 2 suits. They bought me a black and a charcoal gray, which are tremendous blessings. I will say, if you've got several suits in your closet, you're going to want a black one in there. All right, you may not wear it as often, but you're going to want it in there because it's going to be appropriate for those times when you need a black suit. But what a tremendous gift that was. But I didn't have a blue suit. I wanted to get a blue suit, a darker blue. I wanted to get a blue suit, and I shopped on eBay. And I bought a brand new suit, tag still on, for $60. Great quality. No issues with quality, great fit. Why? I knew my measurements, and you can do that too. You just have to get your measurements done, and your wife can do that for you. You just need one of those little seamstress or tailor measuring tapes or whatever you want to call them, but you can get some great deals. The other places I get my suits, especially sport coats and blazers, things that don't have the pants with them, but you mix and match, thrift stores, Goodwill. If you want to go brand new and you want to go retail, I would probably shop the clearance rack at JCPenney. They seem to have the best deals. When you go to JCPenney, I've found that they have the best deals. Quality, just kind of depends on the brand. But I would say if you're looking for a great deal and you want to buy brand new retail, shop the clearance rack at JCPenney. I've heard some great things about Hager. I think that's how you say it. Hager, or is it Hager? I think it's Hager. Hager outlets. I've heard some great things about them. I've never personally been. If you have lots of money, you're like, well, I'm rich. Well, great. Go to like Men's Warehouse or Suit Supply. They will measure you. They'll get your measurements. They will find you a great suit that'll fit. You'll be spending a minimum, if you buy off the clearance rack, you'll be spending a minimum of $400 to $500 for a full suit. Yes, $400 to $500 minimum if you shop the clearance rack, but you're probably looking at way more than that. But if you have money, there you go. As far as dry cleaning suits, I get questions about this a lot. Let me mention this while we're talking about suits. Men, if you wear an undershirt, every time you wear your dress shirt, which means every time you wear your suit, you're wearing a dress shirt and an undershirt. But if you wear an undershirt, this is going to be weird, but if you have good deodorant, and hopefully down the road you'll have, maybe more than one suit coat that you're having to, you don't have to wear the same suit coat every single service. Maybe you can, exchange them out a little bit. But if you're wearing an undershirt, you have good deodorant, you can vary up which coat you're wearing all the time, and you just take care of them. Don't leave them in the car. Don't throw them on the floor. Put them away. As soon as you get home, go ahead and hang it back up. Don't stuff it in the corner of your closet. You just take care of it. If you're going to be sweating a lot, take that coat off, put it somewhere else, and just kind of take care of your coat. You really won't have to dry clean them very often. You just won't. If you take good care of your suit coats, if you care about them, you're not going to have to dry clean them very often. Once a year, maybe. Once every 2 years is probably more likely if you're taking good care of them. If you're not, you're going to have to do it way more often. Now, the pants, I'll say this. For most suit pants, you can put them in the washer on a cold water wash, no bleach, but on a cold water wash, and then do not put them in the dryer unless you don't want them to fit you anymore. Do not put them in the dryer. Hang them out to dry after a cold water wash, and you can do your pants at home depending on the brand, depending on the material, depending on the type. Read the labels and figure that out before you throw them in the washer. Don't take my word for it. Please read the label on your pants before you do that. But a lot of times you can do that with your suit pants. Let's move forward. Ties. Ties are the next one. You're going to be in the ministry. You probably need some ties. And I would say this. If you only have one suit coat and only one, dress shirt, then ties are going to be your best friend because they're going to allow your outfit, for lack of better terms, which sounds so feminine, but they're going to allow your outfit to look different because you're wearing a different tie. And so they're almost this is a kind of weird way to put it, but they're almost the spice of the ministry man's wardrobe. So you could spice it up a little bit with your ties. I would stick to some general guidelines if you're only going to buy a couple ties right off the bat. Then avoid ties if you only have a few. Avoid ties with words, logos, or images if you only have just a handful of ties. They're just not versatile. They're harder to dress up, so I would stay away from those as a general rule. Next, stick to very versatile colors. You say, what are the most versatile tie colors? They're going to be navy, blue, green, and maroon or burgundy. Those are going to be your most versatile tie colors. Now, if you get a good suit, like a blue suit, you're going to be able to match most any color with that suit coat. So get those colors, though. And then if you're like, well, I already have those colors, I want something a little different, go with red or black or gold or yellow, those other colors. What pattern should you get? If you want to create versatility in your wardrobe, what color should you get? Well, I would say this. You could do solid colors, but if you're going to do that, avoid satin sheen ties, which means ties that are very reflective. They're very satiny. They're very what do you call it? They're like very glossy. I would stay away from those, especially with solid ties. You want to try and find something that's 100% made of silk, that's a little bit more muted, or a different material type if you want to do a solid color. Otherwise, here's what's going to be your most versatile patterns. It's going to be the mini dot. It's going to be the collegiate stripe. You can look those up. Or I say probably, in my opinion, the most versatile of all tie patterns is going to be the paisley. I mean, paisley, guys, I know some guys who don't like paisley. I think paisley is great because it's so versatile. You can pair it with literally anything, and I would get some of those in your closet. Next, the chino pants. The chino pants. Now, whether it be casual work days or a date with a wife or visitation or just a lighter day at the office, I would say this, chinos are an essential. Now, they come in a variety of colors, but your most versatile are going to be khaki and blue. You can dress them up, you can dress them down. You can wear them with dress shoes, you can wear them with more casual shoes. And here's what chinos are. They're lightweight, they're more breathable than other pants, they're way more breathable than jeans, which makes them good for warmer weather. I'm here in Florida. I need something a little bit lighter and breathable, and chinos are great. And so they're just a type of pants. They're not dress pants. They're not slacks. I thought about putting those on the list, but I thought I'd go with chinos instead because you can dress them up more. And I think, I'll be honest, I think Walmart, a.k.a. their George brand, has the best bang for the buck when it comes to chinos. You can go there, look for their chino pants, and you can buy a pair of chino pants for about $25. Now, that sounds a little bit expensive, I know, but I think these are going to help you to be very versatile in your wardrobe. You can wear them to work days if you have a couple pairs, and they're going to be lighter. They're going to be more breathable than denim. They're going to keep you cooler, and you can wear them if necessary to a work day if we only have 10 things in our closet, which this list is based off of. So I think Walmart probably has the best bang for your buck when it comes to chinos. And again, I almost included dress pants or slacks instead of chinos, but you can't dress those down as easy. You just can't. So I went with chinos instead. I would say I have been impressed with the quality of pants at Walmart lately. I don't know what it is. It's not like they're blowing my mind with the quality, but their quality is pretty good for what you're spending your money on when it comes to their pants. When it comes to chinos, when it comes to their dress pants, I think you can score a great deal if you go to Walmart. See, I told you guys, I'm going to offer up some deals on here that you would not be expecting. Next is the casual collared shirts. Whether it be a polo shirt, like a pullover, collared shirt, or whether it be a short sleeve button down, those are going to work. Fishing shirts, I know, are very popular right now. And they can work as a casual shirt depending on the style and the color and you as a person. I think there's a certain personality type that can pull off the fishing shirt, but they aren't going to be as versatile as other types of casual shirts. They're going to be harder to dress up in general. But I would say this, for a casual collared shirt, find something that fits and works for you. You like it. I personally was a polo guy. In my closet, I had all polos. But here's what I've done lately. I've switched to patterned button-down short-sleeve dress shirts. Or not dress shirts, but just short-sleeve button-down shirts. They're shorter in overall length. I can wear them untucked. I can tuck them in if I want to dress them up. I'll be honest with you. If I really need to dress up, though, if I'm going to a meeting or something, I'm grabbing one of the patterned long-sleeve dress shirts out of my closet, and I'm going to wear that if I really need to dress it up. Those didn't make the list today either. but I could include those in a list if we had a much longer list. So you need some casual collared shirts. Find something that fits the bill for you. Next on the list is going to be the casual pair of shoes. If you're going to have casual clothes, you need a casual pair of shoes. Do not wear your premium leather shoes, that you've just bought and you're working on the soles and things like that. Don't wear those with like a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. You need a casual shoe. You need something you can dress down for days where you're at home or you're going to a dinner with some of the guys or you're doing something like that. You need something you can dress casually, and those black cap-toe Oxfords I recommended a little while ago are not going to work. You need something more casual. I think you have a lot of variety in this category. I'll toss out some suggestions in general, but you have a lot of variety. Find something that fits the bill for you. For something slightly more dressy, you can dress them down. I would only do this if you have lots of shoes in your closet, and that would be monk straps or loafers, a particular type of shoes, and I'm probably more referring to penny loafers than anything else. You could do that. You could dress those down. I've seen people do it, but that's going to be harder to do. I would say only do that if you have other casual shoes in your closet. But for something less dressy, maybe a pair of leather Sperry's or leather sneakers, depending on the style. You got to be careful with that one because they are very hard to dress up. Guys, do not wear leather sneakers with your suit. Please do not do that. Suits should be exclusively worn with dress shoes. That's a rule. It's a law. So don't violate the law. So the only thing that's casual in this category that you could probably wear with the suit would be the things that I mentioned right off the bat, a pair of loafers or monk straps. But again, those aren't your most casual of casual shoes on the list anyway. You could go with a pair of chukkas or a pair of Chelsea boots, or even a pair of leather-style captain boots can work great depending on the style. And again, I'm pointing back to leather because leather is going to provide versatility. You can dress up leather a little bit more than you can other materials. If you don't want leather, try going with something in suede, which is still leather. But try going with something suede. That can really help. If you're at the bottom of the barrel, I would say that probably for me would be the boat shoe. The boat shoe. Here's the problem with the boat shoe. I think it's a great shoe, but it's just much, much harder to dress up. And you really shouldn't wear them with dress pants. They're going to be more limited in where you can wear them. If you only have one pair of casual shoes, I'll say this, sneakers or running shoes, they just aren't going to make the cut for me. They have their place, and I think you need them in the closet. If you have 3 pairs of shoes in your closet, one of them should probably be a pair of sneakers or a pair of whatever you want to call them, running shoes. Sure. But in general, if you only got 2 pairs, they wouldn't be in my closet personally. Now, I will give today, after we just gave 10 things, I'm going to give some honorable mentions that did not make the cuts of an essential today, even though they might be an essential. Jeans. Hello. If you're going to work ministry, you are going to need some work clothes for a variety of activities in the service of the Lord and in the service of others. So, jeans, yes. I think if you got the money, please get a pair of jeans in your closet. You need them for work days and things like that. Why did they not make the cut when I listed 10? Here's the reason why. You can wear chinos in a pinch. I do. There are certain days where instead of wearing jeans, if it's a hot day, I'll actually wear a pair of chinos that are an older pair that are a little bit more, maybe they got a stain here or there, something like that. I'll keep those and wear them for work days. It's a lot cooler. Just depends on the day. But I would say, yeah, you probably do need a pair of jeans. They just didn't make the cut today. Work shoes. Here's another honorable mention. Work shoes, or maybe more specifically, work boots. I don't know that. Is there really anything more manly than just a pair of leather work boots? I don't know. You strap on, you tie on, you pull on a pair of leather work boots. You just feel like a man. So I would say, me personally, I prefer lace-up boots. I know most guys don't. I do. So there's that. But I would get a nice pair of leather boots if you could. If you can't, oh well, you won't die. You'll be fine. Now here's a couple things that you could get as well to go with your other things. I'm a pocket square guy. Guys, when they wear a suit, they got that little lapel pocket and their pocket by their lapel. They'll wear a little like handkerchief or something like that in it. That's called a pocket square. It's different than a handkerchief. I'm not going to bore you with that today. If you're going to give that a shot, start with a white one. white is going to be the most versatile. If you want to get into pocket squares, white. You could do a handkerchief. I know for me, as I've been in Florida in the heat, having a handkerchief has almost become an essential for me. Whether it be wiping my face, because I am a sweaty guy. I sweat like crazy on my head, and so I've constantly got to wipe my head, and having a handkerchief has been great. A watch. I'm a watch guy. Surprise, surprise. I like watches, so they didn't make the cut for an essential, though. For some guys, I know they would have put on this list some of my ministry friends, and if you're listening today, you know who you are. A hat. A hat would have absolutely made their list of 10 essentials. For me, I'm not a major hat guy. Now, I will wear a hat if I'm working outside or if I'm going fishing or hunting or something like that. The hat goes on. Otherwise, I'm not a real big hat guy. I will say, though, my family and I were in Rural King the other day, and they had this massive wall of ball caps of hats. I'm not a cowboy hat or anything like that type of hat. Like when I say hat, I'm talking about a ball cap. And I was looking at their entire wall of ball caps, and you say, why were you doing that? You're not a hat guy. Because I'm losing my hair. And I know the reality is, in a few years, I'm going to be a hat guy, whether I like it or not. So hats are in my future. So they will be, if we ever make a list down the road, hats will probably be within the 10 essentials of the ministry man. I'll find some reason to put them on the list. Now, again, I know today was a little bit more of a niche episode, a little bit longer than I even wanted the episode to be. But I think it's one that if you're interested and had some questions about dressing sharply and things of that sort, I think today's episode was hopefully a help to you, gave you some direction. Again, if you have any questions, email me. My email is joshua@sandycreekstirrings.com. My friend, until next time, we have some exciting episodes coming up. You'll want to stay tuned for those. But until next time, keep looking up and keep stirred up for the cause of Christ.